So you're curious about the 12th South neighborhood in Nashville, Tennessee? In this video, I'm gonna go through 7 things that I love about 12th South, but there's 3 things I absolutely hate. And if you stay until the end, I'm actually gonna show you a secret spot in 12th South where you can get away from all of it. It all starts right now. Before we really get rolling, if you've seen any of my other videos, then you know we got to start our tour with a power up. And so I am going to try and jump into the most old school, probably most well-known coffee shop in 12th South, and that is going to be the Frothy Monkey. One problem, because of the influx of people in 12th South, even for breakfast, there is a wait, and this is like mid-morning. This is not even truly breakfast. This is late breakfast. But, you know, the coffee shop is the place to be in the AM. And so there is a wait even for breakfast. I'm getting blocked out and I'm having to go to our locals' favorite, which is a little different vibe, but it's Portland Brew. Great coffee shop. They've both been there forever. It's just a different vibe. And this is where the power up is going to happen. So as we come up into 12th South from the south side of 12th South, you're gonna have Sevier Park, which is the park off to my right here. Really nicely done. Community park, playground. You know, they've got the rubber floored playground. They have a community center. They've got tennis. They've got pickleball. They've got basketball. And then as we come up through here, we are merging into the commercial 12th South district. This is where all of the shops begin and the tourists emerge. And there's food, there's shopping, there's lots of pretty murals. So you can go get your selfie shots. You got high-end stores. You're starting to see all kinds of higher-end clothing stores, super trendy clothing boutiques. You got the Viore store, which is, I think this is the first one in Nashville. It's right here on the left. By the way, side note, but have you felt how soft the Viore shirts are? It is noteworthy. You got Draper James off here on the right. That's, of course, going to be Reese Witherspoon's brand that has done really well, and I believe it just sold. And then you're going to have Portland Brew, coffee shop on the left. You got Bar Taco on the right. And you have new things being built still. I mean, it's been 20 years of this. You're gonna have Frothy Monkey here on the left. Basically, you're gonna have all kinds of things and plenty of places to come kill several hours, walk up and down the strip here. You know, this is a little bit of a slower day. On a busy day in the summer, these streets are packed with people. Tons and tons of people. And, you know, one of the original restaurants here is Mafioso's here on the right. And it's a pizzeria. It's been here for probably almost 20 years now. I remember when it opened, it was really, really the spot, the only spot on this whole strip. Now it's a mainstay. And then this compound that we just passed is Dolly Parton's compound. So you got that music element. And she was here before this place was cool. Maybe she's a real estate investor. She's a smart lady, I think. Jenny's Ice Cream. Have you tried their ice cream? It's incredible. I didn't like it at first, and then I think I had the wrong flavor, and now I absolutely love it. Just a hodgepodge of different construction, and, you know, of course, there's cranes still building huge buildings here. So lots and lots going on in 12th South. Now, as we emerge from the commercial district of 12th South, notice how many... You got a lot going on here in the streetscape. You got a bike lane. You got parallel parking lanes. You got regular lane. You got turning lane. You got more parking on the other side. Basically, it caters to every form of travel you can do here. But I actually like that they have the bike lanes. And then on my left, you're going to have Belmont University's campus housing. And their whole campus is just right along. It's one block over from where we are. So it is an anchor tenant, if you will, to the west side of 12th South. And of course, if you go to Belmont or your kids go to Belmont, all of 12th South at your fingertips. It's absolutely amazing. And you are less than a mile from downtown Nashville. Okay, so if you made it to this part of the video, then I gotta show you the secret little spot. It's unsuspecting. You wouldn't know it was here, and it's right next to one of the oldest coffee shops in the neighborhood. It's gonna be the White Bison Market and Coffee Bar. Okay, I feel very conflicted about this. It's owned by Twice Daily. It says it right there. Twice Daily being, probably heard of it, right? You have a large, probably corporate gas station ownership. But I tell you what, I gotta give them props. This is the coolest corporate owned, corporate's a bad word, I guess. It's just not a boutique, but they did a great job with this place. And the secret spot, if you follow me, I'll take you right to it. So as you can see, they've got a coffee shop in this gas station, and they have a secret passageway upstairs where you can go hang out and enjoy the fire pits on a nice cool fall morning. And you can overlook all of 12th South. And it's a freaking gas station chain. Well, whoever thought of it did a great job. I gotta give them credit for what it is. You wouldn't even know it was there, but it's a great little hideaway. You tuck away, do some homework, do some reading, chill out. Not obvious that that little spot is there. So really cool little find in the middle of 12th South. One of the other things to love about the 12th South commercial district is Edley's Barbecue. You can smell it. You can smell them smoking meat from the parking lot. One of the other cool things about this little spot is the filling station. You can fill up your growler of beer. If you're a craft beer person, really neat little find right here next to Edley's Barbecue. So Edley's a great place to come for a happy hour, or if you just want some barbecue. They have really, really good sides here as well. The owner is actually an old friend of mine and has done a great job opening multiple Edley's around Nashville and Middle Tennessee. Highly recommend Edley's for lunch in 12th South. So how do you sell t-shirts for $75? Actually, their t-shirts are pretty awesome. Actually own a couple. Who knew a t-shirt could be such a hot item? It's a t-shirt, but they do a great job. Buck Mason. Lots of cool little boutique shops like that here in 12th South. And then you have cool little pop-ups like this little guy. It's like a little trailer, Lunaware, little pop-up shop. That's a pretty small little shop. And you got little things like this, the Tennessee Cobbler Company. Check that out. Okay, I will say one of the things that I love about 12th South is the variety of cool shopping and unique shopping. You got places that you just don't see anywhere else in Nashville. You do have some of these brands that come from, I think from California, like Marine Layer over here. You got all these random boutiques. I don't know, I'm not a big boutique guy, but lots of people love it. So if you are into shopping, or if you're here on a weekend with friends or whatever, the shopping's unbelievable in 12th South. You got to just walk the strip. They've got cookie shops, they got coffee shops, they got barbecue, they have all kinds of different dining, tacos, chicken, hot chicken, you name it, they pretty much have it in 12th South. Guaranteed to find something you like in 12th South. Food-wise, shopping. All right, one of the first things on my list of things that I love about 12th South has got to be the walkability factor. It's a sidewalk neighborhood, and you are walking to all kinds of commercial. You don't have to get in your car at all if you don't want to. You got everything nearby that you could want to survive on. Second thing I will say about that I love is it's a historic neighborhood. So you got lots of historic homes, and with that comes cool architecture, and it comes good looking houses. You know, look at these. You got Craftsman, you got a lot of 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. bungalows, Victorians, lots of craftsmen, and you'll have a mixed in, like there's a, you know, 70s, 80s infill product, but you got so many cool historic homes in 12th South that it's hard not to like it. There's now a historic overlay for a lot of 12th South, so that basically regulates what you can and can't do. You can't tear down historically contributing structures if you're in that overlay. The entire neighborhood is not in the overlay. And then you have stuff like this. You have these backyard apartments or DADUs, detached accessory dwelling units. So that's the one other nice thing about 12th South is that almost all the streets have alleys. So when you have alleys, you have rear entry garages and garage apartments that become an option. So you can rent those things out, or, you know, create some income for yourself. Love a historic area, love a neighborhood with with alleys so you can rear load. It just makes everything more functional. The next thing on my list of things that I love about 12th South is the general location and proximity to downtown Nashville and to Belmont University and to I-65 interstate. So it's extremely convenient location near downtown Nashville. 12th South is going to be a neighborhood that for the last really since about the year 2000 or so has really been revitalized and redone, invested in heavily. So this right here is a development of townhomes that came in, I think this is back in 07, 08, 2010 territory. Don't hold me to that. This neighbor's got a pool, you know, townhome, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400, 1,800 square feet kind of territory. And that's going to get you, it's called the Park at Melrose. I remember when that was being built. We sold some of those units, and you still have some houses that have not fully been redone, some long timers, if you will, but a lot of new homes have been built. And there's also some product that has attached units. So there may be 2 units attached to one another on one lot. You do see some of that HPR product, but you got a lot of these craftsmen. Look at those exposed rafter tails. Neat looking homes. It's very similar to East Nashville, although I will say East Nashville probably feels even more creative, more artsy. You're gonna see like wild colors in some of the houses in East Nashville. And just like East Nashville, 12th South is going to be one of those areas that has literally gone up in value every year for probably close to 15 years or more. The location has become more and more sought after between the university elements, the access to town, the emergence of a lot of commercial all around it. And so to the east of 12th South, you're going to have 8th Avenue South. And it has kind of its own attribute, life of its own. So here, as we approach 8th South here, it's 4 lanes instead of 2. It's gonna have scale and massing on a larger level than 12th South. Basically, it was really built for more infrastructure. So as we travel south down 8th Avenue South, it has just completely done a about face in the last 10 years, I would say. It looks nothing like it used to. It has more high, mid-rise apartment buildings that have come in. There's a Hattie B's Hot Chicken, kind of a world famous at this point. You have a lot of commercial that's come in. You got Mexican restaurants. You got First Watch breakfast over here. You're gonna have burgers, little wine bars, liquor store. That liquor store's been here for the whole time. So much of everything else has turned over. That's been here the whole time. Then off to the right, more apartments. And they even installed a Sonic and a Chick-fil-A. That's one of the newer additions on this strip. So anyway, if you're in 12th South, you have access to not only 12th South's higher end boutique shopping, you got all of 8th Avenue to come do additional shopping and workplaces. Get your car worked on at the Firestone. You're flanked basically by 2 different commercial strips, so you have a ton of options commercial wise and walkability wise, depending on where you are in 12th South. But it does go all the way over to 8th Avenue South, which is where we are. So now we're coming up from 8th Avenue South back into the 12th South neighborhood. This portion of the neighborhood, you'll notice there's not sidewalks. There's not the historic overlay restrictions. So you got a little more affordability on this side, a little less of the historic overlay restrictions, and it's gonna be less busy. Right along 12th South, one of the other cons is gonna be that parking is kind of a challenge. You know, that first block off of 12th South, there's cars on every street, so there's signs up, don't block driveways, etc., because there's just an overflow of traffic there. So that's one of the other cons about 12th South, is the parking and the absolute overflow of people. And truly, tourists is really what's driving 12th South commercial district at this point. The rents are high, and the highest end stores are coming in and still paying the rent. And it's because the tourists are coming to town and they're buying stuff. So there's a tourist element that if you are gonna live in 12th South, it's cool to go in there, but you may or may not want to live right on the strip because it may just be overwhelming with the amount of people. So one of the other pros of 12th South is gonna be Sevier Park. You got farmers market that comes in there, kind of like a mini Central Park. It's really nice. It's got a little topography, some open spaces to go picnic, go to the playground, take the kids for a walk. Great park right there on the southern border of 12th South. Okay, this brings me to another one of the things that I love about 12th South, and you would have not guessed this, but it's actually not even 12th South. It's Belmont Boulevard, which is 1 block to the west. We are on Belmont Boulevard, and as you can see, it is a nice wide boulevard, bike lane, running lane, sidewalks, wide street, large houses, and it dead ends right into Belmont University. But this is really the street that's a little more pedestrian friendly. There's not crosswalks at every single half a block necessarily like there is on 12th South with people pouring across the street. It was just built better for a large amount of people density, and it just flows nicely. This is the place where you want to come jog or run or walk the dog if you're looking for a main thoroughfare. 12th South proper is just almost too jammed up with people, and it wasn't designed to carry the amount of density that it now has on it. So for that reason, I like Belmont Boulevard as one of the pros of the 12th South neighborhood. Now, arguably, this starts to turn into Belmont neighborhood or Belmont Hillsborough before you know it. It's not really on 12th, in the 12th South neighborhood, but it's right along one of the borders of it. So for that reason, I include it in the conversation about things to like about 12th South. One of the other things I love about 12th South is just the university element. The Belmont University and then Vanderbilt, almost adjacent to Belmont. You have 2 colleges, so you have a lot of the youthful vibe, the cool places that college students want to go to, lots of coffee shops. You just have that youthful element and influence. So we are now on Belmont's campus, driving through here, and I think that's an asset for 12th South because it keeps it kind of young, and it's the kind of place where you can come If you went to school or your kids went to school at Belmont, or even Lipscomb, which is not far, or Vanderbilt, you're hanging out 12th South a portion of the time, for sure. It's right there in the heart of it all. So here you can see we're on the border of Belmont University, all these major, super large, nice buildings. This is on Wedgwood Avenue. So this is the northern border of Belmont's campus. And this really is where 12th South begins, at the northern border as well. Look at these things. These are so nice, and they just keep building, and this university is growing like crazy. So it is part of the conversation with the 12th South neighborhood. So it's a major influence. There used to be a really old, really rough gas station right here on this corner that Belmont bought and turned it into an entrance to their university. Basically just a little green space here. They just eliminated. You got the cookery, little cafe here. Good spot for breakfast. And now, you know, you're looking at Belmont University, and we're going down to 12th Avenue South right now. All around Belmont University, you're gonna have historic homes, a lot of bungalows, neat properties. This is actually kind of an interesting little furniture garage there. And you got some hillsides, you gotta walk up and down a few hills. But lots of neat historic homes all around the university. So here's a neat place. This is Want a Spoon cereal bar. They got coffee and ice cream, fire pits, neat little spot off the beaten path here in 12th South. And now we're back into more 12th South residential homes. Here on 10th Avenue South, you're going to have the Waverly Belmont Elementary School. This place reopened here in the last decade, and with the revitalization of 12th South, the school reopened. If you live here, you could walk your kids to school, they could ride their bikes. It's kind of a more close-knit neighborhood feel that was not here prior to about a decade ago. All right, so quick story time. I've got a long history of 12th South, and it goes back to when this is before I was married, this is out of college. I was finding my way in the world of Nashville and started getting interested in Nashville real estate. This is around the year 2002, 2003 territory. And my brother Jeremy had some investment property. He taught me about mortgages and about interest rates and all this stuff and investment properties. And so I got interested in this. I started looking for properties. And I started, looked all around Nashville and started drilling in on this neighborhood that was a little bit sketchy at the time. Back in the day, I was looking around, I was like, where can I find a property that I can either rent out or get roommates or make sense of, that I can afford? I'm just pretty newly out of college. And I kept coming back to this area of 12th South. And at the time, it looked a lot different. It was a lot different than it is now. It's kind of rough. There was some 8th Avenue. There was really rough, parts, of it, people walking around. But I just thought, hey, this is close to the interstate. This is actually really convenient from I-65, the interstate, and you got Belmont University right here. And so I was like, man, that university is not going anywhere. This feels like something that long-term is going to do well. So I ended up finding a foreclosure, and the house had bars on the windows. The power was off. There was water in the basement, like a foot of water in the basement. I was like, this is all just weird. What is going on? Of course, it had a sump pump, but the power was out, so it couldn't pump out. And anyway, long story short, it's a foreclosure. I ended up buying it. There was bars on the windows. It had not been updated or rehabbed. This was a rough area. You know, you had to put bars on your windows back then. And my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, was like, "What are you thinking? Are you expecting me to come visit you here? This is like kind of sketchy. What are you doing?" And I was like, "You got to believe. You just, you know, there's some things to like here. I just feel good about it." So anyway, fast forward, bought that house, had roommates, did the whole roommate thing. Later on, my wife ended up buying a house in 12th South before we were married. And then right after we were married, we lived in 12th South in a different house. But I kept that house that I had bought originally and rented it out and got Belmont students as tenants. And it was one of the best moves I ever made. The moral of the story is that if you're willing to do a little bit of pioneering, at least my advice to people younger, especially, and they're coming up when you have time on your side, is if you can find an area that has strong fundamentals, or you feel like, you know, 10 years from now could look a lot different, you can win really big. Now, I will also say some of the nicest neighborhoods now have the best appreciation. So you don't have to be a rough area to get appreciation. You know, now it's just gone to a whole nother level with all the commercial in 12th South. It has just taken the whole neighborhood up to $2 million, $3 million. It's just gone way, way, way up. But being willing to take some risk and being willing to be a little bit of a pioneer can pay off. So I want to show you this first house. It's still standing. They haven't scraped it. Ended up selling it years later to buy another house, but it served me well. It was a really good investment. And I just love the history of the neighborhood, seeing where it's come. It's a lot different, and it's just exciting to see. It's hard to believe, really, but it's exciting to see. So here it is. Here is the house, my old house. And I planted these trees right here. Look at the size of these things. And it's hard to tell scale right now, but those are big trees. Not done any new colors with the house, but those crepe myrtles right there, we planted those too. Look at the size of those crepe myrtles. Can you see those? Trees never show up as good as I wish they would. Anyway, super weird to be back at an old house. Have you ever visited your old house, your childhood house, or anything like that? This wasn't my childhood house, but it was 20 years ago, something like that. So anyway, a lot of history in 12th South. One of the other things that I don't love about 12th South is the lack of parking. And you have to pay to park in most of the lots. I just hate paying to park. I don't know why. You can find, you know, parking spots on some of the streets, but the most convenient spots are going to be pay to park, and there's a ton of people. So the demand supports it. But I still don't love that about 12th South. It's just lots and lots and lots of people and demand. Pros and cons though, right? It's part of the deal. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up my day, go hit the juice bar on 8th Avenue. And just want to say thanks for coming along with me. Again, my name is Clay with the Kelton Group. The team and I, we get contacted every single day from people just like you, and you about moving to Nashville, and we love it. We're a real estate team. So if you got questions, whether you're buying or selling, we can help answer your questions. Feel free to call us, text us, email us, let us know what you're interested in. And, you know, 12th South is a neighborhood we've done a lot of work in over the years. Used to live here, owned multiple homes here, sold a ton of homes around here. So be more than happy to answer your questions. And, you know, our goal is to help people connect all the dots so they can make the right move. So no matter if you're moving in 9 days or 9 years, or whenever, just give us a call. Let us know how we can be of help to you. And until next time, we hope to show you around.